On this edition of the Seacoast Sports Forum, special guest, a New Hampshire and Seacoast, New Hampshire student athlete who is excelling not only in the classroom, but in the sporting world in college. So I have as my special guest today, Josh Morissette. Welcome back, Josh.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Well, March Madness. It's in all sports now. The winter sports are all coming to a conclusion. The championships are all being decided, but in particular, we'll stick with basketball for this first segment. You've been involved with some March Madness, and tell us first off, give the audience a thumbnail of where you've been since we last spoke, and again how the basketball career is going.
Yeah, so I think the last time we spoke, it was last spring or something when I was still down at Wofford. But since then, obviously, I transferred to St. A's and I came back home. And we had a pretty decent year. We started off slow, so it hurt us to get like an at-large bid for the NCAA tournament. But we figured it out towards the end of the year, and we made a little run and made things interesting in our conference tournament. Ended up making it to the semifinals and fell just short in that game. So it was definitely a tough end because you want to do better, but it was a good year. It was great to be back home and great to be back near the Seacoast in New Hampshire, where obviously so many people have supported me and been with me, and followed me, especially. So it's fun to be back home playing in front of all of them again.
Well, you had some TV time. That was one advantage of being back here in New Hampshire. Channel 9, you had a couple of real red hot games, and they made sure you got some TV time, which that doesn't hurt.
No, it does not. No, it does not.
So overall, the move from down south back right here, home cooking, positive?
Very positive.
Right.
I was back on the court playing, obviously, and in front of all the people that have supported me for 21 years of my life. So it was awesome.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, we've got a lot of basketball that we've just dealt with in the high school level. I think everybody, all different divisions are all concluded. We started off with a unified, and that was the Exeter Blue Hawk team under Coach Ball, and they three-peated, I believe, is for their record now. They've been 3 in a row, so that congratulations to them. Then over the weekend, there was a big tournament down in UNH, Lundholm Gymnasium, where D2 and D1 were decided. Concord Christian Academy for the girls, and for the boys, it was the Pelham Pythons in Division 2. In Division 1, we'll work backwards. In the girls, it was the Bedford Bulldog ladies taking out the Pinkerton Astros. And then in the Division 1 tournament for the boys, the Pinkerton Astros took on and defeated a real tough challenger, the Nashua North Titans. Were you able to see any of that action or read about it?
I followed the Division 1 championship just because, Jackson Marshall kind of took this whole state by storm this year.
Yeah.
And put up some numbers that you never see. So I want to see it firsthand for myself, just kind of watch it online and things like that. And he was special to watch. It was definitely fun to watch him.
He was a unique player. 6'9", about 260, I guess is what they weighed him in at. And he definitely dominated under the boards, but he also could shoot some threes. So, I mean, he was a kind of a dual threat for that team. And so it was no surprise, but I think the surprise was the Nashua North defeated Bedford to get into the finals. But that team, I'll tell you, they impressed me. They could move the ball. They put a lot of hustle. And actually, for a while on the championship game, it was a contest. Just at the end, some players go cold, unfortunately, when they don't or shouldn't.
Exactly.
And there was one player in particular, he went 0 for 9 in the three-point department, and that didn't help the Titans any. So, and then, of course, when you put the ball up and you get a 6'9" rebounder like Marshall underneath to pick the ball and then throw it down the other end to his teammates and then score, that does add up when the point totals go down. So, yeah, it was very, very exciting weekend, but I don't want to skip over D3, the boys' championship.
Of course, I was going to mention it.
Yeah. It's close to home for you because it's your dad who coaches the St. Thomas Aquinas Saints, and they repeated as champions. And tell us a little bit about their season.
It it was awesome, especially just to be able to last year to follow them all the way to their Final Four run in his first year, and then come up short. Like I had to follow it from afar, watch everything. Then to be back home, be able to go to practices, be able to kind of give them advice because I've been in their situation before, and help them along the way. I can say this, like my dad said it too, like they didn't have a bad practice, and I was probably at a third of their practices, and they never had a bad practice when I was there. So he's really telling you the truth there, and they were talented, and they
Who were,
wanted to
well,
play
who were
together.
some of the standouts? Who were some of the standout players for him this year?
Yeah, so Will Malika was one of his senior captains who just kind of did everything. Last year, my dad called him the glue guy, and I would say he was like the glue guy again while being one of their better players. He was a great leader. He's going on to play at Plymouth State next year. And then you have Cole McClure, who might be the best freshman in the state of New Hampshire at any level. Like he's unbelievable. He scored 20 in the state championship. He's going to be one heck of a player as he gets older, so he'll be someone to follow. And then you have guys like Carson Cooper's weight, who was just a big guy, grabbed 12 rebounds a game. James Allen came in this year as a senior and had an unbelievable season for them. Definitely helped them. He's also off to play at Plymouth State next year. And then you got guys. They had three guys: Declan Healy, Finley DeTola, and my boy Ant. Smaller guards who just kind of did their job, whatever they were asked. So it was a team that wanted to win and play together.
And your dad, I was going to say he comes from the ranks of the officials, the officiating, so he's kind of familiar on that end of it. But now the coaching, he's coached in the past. So how does that work for your dad going from one to the other?
It's funny because he's flipped now. This is his third flip. He went from a coach to a ref to a coach. And I think you just get that like kind of sense of the other side of the game when you're
Right.
reffing, like what
Mm-hmm.
you see. So I think when he goes back to coaching, he's able to ask an official, like, hey, what did you see there? And they're able to talk about like what they saw and have that mutual kind of connection of they did the same thing together. So he definitely has a different viewpoint of the game, but he's also different than he was in college. Like I didn't see him yell once this year uh, at his guys. Like he was very calm, whereas in college he was always yelling. So I think he just kind of got that different viewpoint, and he's able to like kind of have a conversation with an official now.
Well, that's important. Yeah, it is really important, and I've noticed that uh, we can hit on that too about the officiating. I know right now there's a big need for officials in all sports, but in basketball in particular, because this year I saw a lot of new faces, but they weren't new young faces; they were new old faces. They were kind of spreading around the different areas of the state. Um, in your experience, let's talk from your experience now. From being a Blue Hawk and then moving on to Phillips Exeter, and then to going on to St. A's, but in between that experience with Wofford, what did you see as far as officiating, the different styles?
Yeah, I think there are some officials that definitely make it about themselves, which I don't think is fair to the athletes. Like they want to make a call, they want to do this. But for like the most part, I've had officials who are approachable, and if you approach them the right way, they'll hear you out. It's like I always would like ask an official like a question, or like if I had a foul and I disagreed, I'd be like, hey, like what did I do there? What do I need to do not to get like the foul call? And they'll tell me, and they'll like respect like that respect level that you have for them, that you're not showing them up, but like you're just approaching them to ask a question. And for the most part, that's kind of what I've seen, especially back at like St. A's. You're around New England guys, you're around people who have like refed you before. So like you kind of just build that relationship with them.
Mhm.
Um, and you can talk to them. But like there are some guys at like the higher level that like want to get to that next step, want to get to a higher conference, Division 1, want to get to kind of that NBA. So like they call a tighter game. Um, and you're not able to approach them as easy. But for the most part, if you're respectable to them, they'll be respectable to you.
I think you hit it on the head. I've seen that just in high school ranks over the years, that if an official thinks somebody's trying to either show them up or be a show, then they usually bring him down a peg during the game at some point. And I always said to my kid when he was playing, let the official do his job. And anybody else would listen to me, don't try to show up the official, because if they think you're doing something that is getting under their skin, they're gonna get to you at some point.
Exactly.
They got the whistle.
Yes,
Uh,
they do.
the other part I want to ask you, flip it and say now, again, going from Exeter, Phillips Exeter, Wofford, and to St. A's, the different coaching techniques that you've seen in your career.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's been different everywhere I went. Coach Holmes was awesome, and I grew up in his driveway, so like he always knew what he was going to be getting. I live right on the other side of the neighborhood, so with him, it was like he threw me in the fire right away as a 14-year-old freshman. It was like go, and we played a fast pace, up and down. Let's play, let's outscore you. And then you go to Phillips Exeter, and it's really based on what team you're playing is how you're going to approach the game. Like there's different game plans, things like that. Sometimes you're going to play fast, sometimes you're going to slow the ball down. But it's also like a college pace because you're playing guys who are going to that next level, who are going to play Division One, and that's what they want. So it's a lot of fun in that aspect. My cat's be coming at me. Um, but then you go to Wofford, and it's like kind of same thing as PEA. Like every week you go in, and you're playing Wednesday, Saturday. So you're getting a game plan on Wednesday, you're getting a game plan or a game plan on Monday, a game plan on Thursday, and you're practicing for 2 days to kind of perfect that and attack a team's weakness. Then you go to St. A's, and it's like, yeah, we're gonna have a game plan, but like we're just gonna do what we do. We're gonna attack every day, and if we do what we do, we're comfortable that we're gonna just beat you, in that sense. So like it's been kind of different steps and like different styles of basketball every place I've went.
So tactical coaching versus aggressive coaching. I mean, and what I mean by that is now over the years I've seen, and this again is the high school level, the coaches that like to yell and rant and stomp and try to get their point across either to the officials or to their team. Or you've got the guys that are more reserved and kind of, if they see they're losing control of the team, call a timeout and bring everybody over and kind of regroup. I mean, from your viewpoint as a player, where would you prefer to have the coach that gets in your grill or somebody that just is a tactician?
Well, I think it's both because there are times where you need to get yelled at, and there are times the team needs to get like regrouped, refocused, especially when they're making mistakes that you normally make. And I think that's what Coach Dixon does a great job of at St. A's. Like in a game, when you see him, like he's gonna call a timeout to like kind of refocus us, rehuddle us, but he's not gonna like show you up at a game. Whereas in practice, that's where he's kind of gonna challenge you and push you, and do things like that. So I think you kind of need both because there are times where you need to be reminded like you are a college athlete, like you are expected to do these things like that. But at the same time, when you're playing a game, you don't want that over your head. And that's what
Right.
Coach Dixon does a great job at. Like he lets you go and play, but then he reminds you of kind of what you're supposed to do in practice and like what you're expected.
Now, back to as a player, let's go back to this kid Jackson Marshall. We were just discussing the big player for literally the big player for the Pinkerton Astros. Now you'd think he would, being 6'9" and a big guy, would be going on to a college somewhere to play basketball, but no, he's going to be playing baseball, which kind of surprised a few people when they heard that. But I guess he loves baseball and he's good at it, so he's made that decision. And he's got a scholarship to go elsewhere to play baseball. But now to those guys and gals that play basketball that aspire to get into college to play, I mean, from your perspective, you've been there and done it literally. What would be your advice to try, let's talk to that JV player that's coming up now to the varsity level in high school, and he or she is trying to play their way to college ball.
Yeah, I think it's really, you have to make sacrifices at that age. I wouldn't hang out with friends as much in high school outside as other friends were to kind of get to where I was. So it's like there's sacrifices you have to make, but also you have to make sure you love what you're doing. Every day I loved going to the gym. I loved getting into the weight room. Like I loved putting in that extra work, to try to be better than everyone else. So like you have to make sure like every day you wake up with a game plan to try to be better than the person next to you. Like if you're on JV trying to go to varsity, you should work every day to try to be better than every varsity player you're going after next year. And then I think kind of taking that step, then when you make the team, now work hard to be better than every other player in the state. And then you start getting seen and you just want to work hard every day and make sure you love what you're doing, but at the same time have fun with it. Like that, I think that's the most important
Yeah.
thing. You got to make sure you're having fun
And
playing the sport.
that's what I've always said, that if, especially at the high school level, this the percentages of getting into college and playing, are decreasing. Just that's the way it is. You have to be that exceptional player, but have some fun and learn the sport too. I mean, that's the idea, is you're moving up from freshman JV to the varsity level. You're gaining exposure to the game and the different coaching styles and whatever. And that's something that, I know, having watched you over the years, you've been able to adapt to. And I think that's another word, how to adapt to the different levels.
Yes, I would agree, because obviously every step you make, it's going to be harder. You're going to be a better player. So like it took me a few games to adjust. Like it always takes you kind of a game or two, then you get used to the speed and things like that. But if you can adapt, at some point it gets easier and you realize you belong and you can play.
Right. And another thing, I think at the high school level, you see more 2 or 3 sport players to keep themselves going. Like the winter's over, but now spring's up. There'll be a lot of guys playing lacrosse. There'll be baseball, obviously, and softball. We'll get to that in a few minutes. But just, that, I guess, back to you. You did play other sports before, and then you specialized in basketball, correct?
Yes. So I played when I was at Exeter High School. I played for Coach Ball on the football team. I played for Coach McQueen on the baseball team. Was fortunate to win one with Coach McQueen. Um, but it's always like you said, you specialize at something. So like even in those sports, I'd go to football practice. We'd get out at 7. I'm staying at Exeter High School till like 8:30 in the gym, making sure I'm getting shots up. Or like sometimes I would miss a baseball game with Coach McQueen because I had like an AU tournament and I couldn't miss a game. We were traveling to like Virginia, Dallas, and he was like, "I get it. Like that's the sport you want to do. Like go ahead." So like, you're always kind of making sacrifices even outside of kind of your specific season.
Exactly. And a lot of kids, I mean, it's good to, from a lot of perspectives, not just from the physical part, but just the emotional part, to broaden your horizon, so to speak, to use another cliche.
Yeah, it's because Cody and I talk about it a lot. Like the mental grind Coach Ball taught us from the months of August to November is something you don't get in other sports. Like Coach Ball was unbelievable. The mental preparation, the film details, attention to how other teams are going to run plays. Like we took that from football to apply it to like a baseball game where you're on the bottom of the 7th inning state championship. Cody's on the mound. Well, now it's a one run game. So he's kind of like all that stuff that Coach Ball prepared him for. Now he's ready. But then baseball gives you kind of like little details, like how to turn a double play, what pitch is somebody throwing, and you pick up on those and you can just apply it to every sport.
Right.
And that's kind of what Cody and I talk about. Like we're thankful for that, because without those things, we wouldn't be as good at our own sport as we are.
Well, you brought him up, and your brother Cody was a 3-sport player at EHS. I mean, football, obviously excelled in that, quarterback, and then basketball, and then baseball. So baseball, though, was his true love, and that's the one he specialized in. And right now he's part of the Miami Marlins system. And, well, give us a thumbnail where Cody is right now, or what's up with Cody.
Yeah, he's down in Jupiter, Florida. He's at spring training. He ended obviously last season in AA. He had a good year. I wouldn't say he was as thrilled with his year because he wasn't as consistent as he would like to be, and obviously he's hard on himself. We're harder on him. Like we want to see him succeed. That's just kind of the family we are. But he's down in Florida getting ready for another year. He's had 2 at bats, in the big league game. Some of the big league games, he's 1 for 2. He had a double against the Astros. So like that is kind of a cool feeling to see. He doesn't know where he's going to start this year yet. Obviously, you got to get through spring training. We're assuming he's going to start in AA. and hopefully make his way up from there. But he's doing good.
Well, he's got the drive, that's for sure, just like you do, and that's important because if you want to excel in a sport, you want to excel, you've got to just be able to go with the highs and the lows because they're all. I know he's had some injuries that kind of threw him a curveball, literally, no pun intended, but did slow it down for him in the in the system. So yeah, you just got to be prepared mentally and physically, obviously. So I'm going to bring up softball. Now this is spring sports coming up, and at Exeter High School, your mom has had a real successful run as the head coach of the girls softball team, and is she gearing up for another championship?
We're hoping.
Really?
They'll be talented again.
Good.
And I wouldn't put anything past her. She always says she doesn't want to coach this and that. But at the end of the day, like the second that first pitch is thrown, she's just as competitive as the girls are. And she wants it done in the end. It's obviously a tough end for them last year, losing to
Yeah.
Winnicott. That was a great game as well. But obviously they had a really good team last year. And, they return a majority of their key pieces. Obviously losing their pitcher of the year, Kristen Beebe, and their catcher, Emma, is going to hurt them. But everyone else basically comes back and she thinks it'll be pretty good again, and she's excited.
Well, she reloads and she knows how to coach, and every year she has a great team that she puts out there on the field. So yeah, we're looking forward to it. And one thing I know, because we go up there, usually do a video version of the coaches in the springtime, and she's real shy.
She will not come on the screen unless you make her.
I usually turn that over to Bill Taylor. Coach Taylor knows how to kind of just relax her and keep her in the mood just for a short interview.
Yeah, that's all you'll get. You might get 5 minutes and then she's gone.
But she does a great job, and on the field is where it counts. That is obvious. I did want to bring up something that kind of ties in with this and get your take on it. Your mom has been at Exeter High School for how many years now in the athletic department?
28 to 30. A while.
Yes, it's a long time, and she's been a right hand person for Coach Ball, who was the athletic director as well. And it was announced just a couple of weeks ago that he is retiring, and they have hired a replacement. And the article in the paper, Jay Pinsino had a great article about Coach Ball's retirement, our athletic director, Bill Ball, and he had everybody kind of comment and your mom's been, like I say, a big support for Coach over the years, keeping things afloat and on an even level.
Yes.
So, I mean, your take on, and you grew up in obviously Exeter High School, and you're familiar with Coach Ball. Your take on his retirement and just any feelings you have about the guy.
Yeah, no, it's well deserved. He's done one heck of a job at Exeter High School for so long. His grandkids are getting older. I've gotten to know his grandkids too. So, I'm happy for him that he's finally kind of, wouldn't say stepping down completely, because we know he'll be on the sideline, but to take a break and be able to go spend more time with his family and like do things that he's waited 47 years to do, I think, something crazy like that. So, but for me, I love the guy. He's always looked out for me. He's always cared for me. One of the best coaches I've ever played for, and I only got a short stint with him. So I'm happy for him. Exeter's gonna miss him, but it's sure gonna still feel good seeing him walking the sidelines this fall.
Well, I said to somebody at the tournament the other day, I said, it's going to be important for his successor to kind of take time and kind of just kind of bask in the glory of what's he created there at Exeter High School in the athletic department. I mean, it's a family, and everybody is comfortable with each other. I've never, in the 30 years I've been involved, just doing the public address announcing, I've never felt tension in that building. Sure, there are times when things happen that you have to be addressed, but I'm talking about it. Just everybody is coordinated. Everybody is doing their job, and I I hope that things just keep running smoothly for the years to come. But he's done a heck of a job. And before he checks out at the end of June, I definitely want to get it back up there and do a video interview with him, because it just, there's so much history, 30 plus years of history, and he's had such an effect on not only you know student athletes, but just students in general, that for years after he and I are long gone, people will still be talking about Coach Ball.
No question. No question.
Well, what is in store for you, Josh Morissette? What now the basketball season is over, but I know it's not. You guys keep practicing constantly, but what are you looking forward for spring and the upcoming summer?
Yeah, spring. You're looking forward to, getting back to work. We're on spring break right now, so we're all away from each other. Then we go back, and we still have a week off in basketball. So just kind of getting ready to get back to work. Trying to figure out and piece together things for next year that we have to work on, and just get ready this spring and summer to come back next year and hopefully complete your goal. Obviously of winning a championship, because that's obviously hard to, grasp that you didn't get the job done this year. So come back next year ready and get ready to take that next step.
And you're close to home, so to speak, and we can all go and catch a game. That's the best part. Traveling down south was a little bit of a haul, but
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. My family can attest to that.
Yeah, I was going to say, between you and Cody being down in Florida, I mean, your mom though did get to see that game where he got the cycle. That was great.
Yeah,
See?
first game she ever saw.
Yeah,
I didn't get a cycle the first game I ever watched him play.
that's great. That was home cooking. I mean, it was that when I heard that, I went, wow.
And then talking about my mom and screen time earlier, WMUR wanted to interview her and Cody. Now they got it done, but let me just tell you, she didn't want to do it at all. She had a few no's really quickly at first.
I promise we'll get a short interview with her at some point before the softball season starts. And I also want to get her involved when I do that thing with Coach Ball at the end of the season, because it's a special occasion. It's a time capsule piece of the people he's worked with. And I again, kudos to Jay Pinsino for the article that he wrote for the Seacoast Media Group. And I guess people can go on Seacoast Online and catch that. I was really tickled when I read that. And last year, it's funny because I did an interview with Coach Ball prior to his surgery. Now we knew he wasn't feeling well, and I just said to the guys at Exeter TV, I said, let's do something just to have it in the time capsule. And luckily, everything went as planned, and we'll do a follow-up version of it. And I'm sure he's got some stories to tell, and we'll give him a chance to tell them full tilt.
I wouldn't say some. I'm sure he's got a lot of stories to tell.
So now I do this thing, and you're familiar with the 2-minute drill, where anything you got on your mind, you want to throw it out on the table, feel free.
Yeah. Well, speaking of March Madness, some teams to look out for. I definitely say UConn is definitely one of the favorites. Watch out for Iowa State. My old roommate plays there. So they're the 6th best team in the country right now, but they might be the best defensive team. So definitely watching them to make a little run in your bracket. And then as for other sports, let's hope, my brother Cody can pick it up a little bit this spring and maybe get the call up to the big show so we can watch him.
Rooting for him.
That the Patriots do something in the offseason and we can have a better fall next year.
Yeah, that was interesting to see that they did cut ties with Mac Jones and brought back Jacoby Brissett, and it looks like that they will go after a quarterback in that with that first pick. Have you got any feelings on who you'd pick if you had that choice?
I really like Jaden Daniels from LSU because I don't think May or Caleb Williams will be available. So I think Jaden Daniels, but I also wouldn't be opposed to drafting a star wide receiver and getting a Bo Nix from Oregon with that second pick that they have, because I think he'd still be around and he had an unbelievable career.
Yeah.
So it's I could go either way.
You know that if you get the best quarterback there is, he has nobody to throw to.
Exactly.
And that was part of Mac Jones's problem, unfortunately. Mac kind of caught in the crosshairs, so to speak, because there was nobody to catch the ball, and it kind of made things hard for him. And in March Madness, what about Caitlin from Iowa with the all-time scoring record? Wow.
Yeah, I know she's fun to watch.
Woo.
I don't watch much women's basketball, I won't lie to you, but whenever Caitlin Clark is on TV, she's must-see TV.
Wow.
So we all watch it as a team. We'll sit up in an apartment and just watch an entire game.
Fox has the rights, I guess, to the women's basketball and tournament, and they said that every game they've had on this year at Iowa, that their ratings went through the roof, and actually bettered the guys' ratings on ESPN. So it was kind of, and I had been talking to Dave O'Brien last season about her, and when I watched her in the tourney, and he said, "Wow, she's just phenomenal." So
she sold out every arena because of herself.
So who would be your favorite for the guys again?
Oh, it's hard to go against UConn, but it's also really hard to repeat. So I like them. I like Iowa State.
Okay, those are your two picks. Okay, well, we're going to hold you to them.
Sounds good.
Way I want to sign off the 2-minute drill on the show. I just want to congratulate all the winter team champions, but congratulations to all the student athletes involved in the winter sport programs. And I guess they can look forward, most of them, to just taking spring off, but some are going to be going right back into a spring sport. And but the winter season is wrapping up, and it's been an exciting winter season. So on to spring we go, Josh.
On to spring, bring the warm weather.
So on behalf of our special guest today, Josh Morissette, I'm Sherm Chester, inviting you to join us for the next edition of the Seacoast Sports Forum. Be sure to subscribe to Exeter TV on YouTube and hit the bell to get notified about new episodes of the Seacoast Sports Forum and other local content. Follow the Sports Forum team behind the scenes on our Facebook and Twitter pages, and send us your game footage and photos to our email. That's seacoastsportsforum.extv@gmail.com. This is Sherm Chester inviting you to join us for the next edition of the Seacoast Sports Forum.